City bottled it today. City bottled it. There was something off with City. Maybe it was the pressure after Arsenal's emphatic win against Aston Villa. It's been 2 or 3 games on the bounce where Manchester City have had to claw back an extended gap, maybe. The atmosphere at the Stadium of Light was a cauldron, intimidating. The defensive quality was also hard for them to break down. But if we look at the first half as an example, it was poor from a Manchester City point of view in the game. Only 0.26 XG, one big chance in the entire game, just 2 shots. Sunderland absolutely schooled them. Nipped their wings. Is that the expression you do for birds, nipping the wings? Had the wings nipped, clipped, not nipped. Had the wings clipped. And they just couldn't get going. It was a brilliant, brilliant display from Sunderland in that regard. The second half was different because in the second half, City had they had more of the ball. They had 12 shots. They had 3 on target. They had 4 big chances. Savinho having the first as an example where he should be scoring. Guardiola's header should be scoring. There was also right down to at the end, you had Reinders who's through on goal. They've broken the line they're in. And instead of squaring it to Haaland, it's just a little crappy P-roller go straight into the goalkeeper's hands. Haaland himself today got, for the first time really in a long time, I've seen him kind of get too, how do I say this in the right way? Too sort of involved in the wrestling, too involved in the physical battle and not really worrying too much about the football. I think he's almost... One thing I loved the other day... Who was I watching the other day? What striker was it? My mind has gone blank and it's annoying me. It was... I don't remember. I'm sorry, but either way, I was loving the way he was holding the ball up, but he was wrestling and he was having the physical battle, but his first thought was, oh, I'm going to control the ball first and I'm going to lay it off and bring a teammate in. I'll do that whilst winning the physical battle. And Haaland is one of the best in the world at doing that. This whole nonsense, he's a League 2 player, is one of the biggest lies ever told, ever. But today it was more about, I'm going to show Mukelele that I'm the man, I'm bigger, I'm stronger. And I think he got dragged into a physical battle rather than a footballing battle first. And he came out second best. I've been I've praised very much the likes of Foden and the likes of Cherki of late. And yes, Cherki did create some opportunities in the game, but I felt both were not of the level that we've recently seen. Foden being the worst in terms of accountability there, just nowhere near the standard that you would expect from him. I thought Savinho was dreadful, an invisible first half, missed a sitter, and then when he goes in through on goal a minute or so later, right at the beginning of the second half, takes a shot that's wide, gets injured in the process, shocker. O'Reilly today, poor for Man City. I thought Doku, when he came on, was terrible. If I'm being honest with you, I thought it was absolutely terrible when he came on, and nearly every time he tried to beat a man, he got tackled, and if he did beat a man, his cross was cut out quite easily. And there was a moment where there was a great bit of play by Man City where they're being boxed in. This is about 80 minutes on the clock, and they did absolutely wonderfully to play out of that press from Sunderland, but then there was space. And Doku has got all the time and all the space in the world. He's one-on-one with the fullback, and he's just tackled so easily. And when you look at how often and how consistently he beats people for fun, very, very poor. So, listen, I think Pep got it wrong today. I would have started Reinders in this game as an example. I know he's not back yet. I think Guardiola should have started. He was much more of a threat than Nico O'Reilly. And I get you've got to rotate this time of the year. There's another game on Sunday. But this was such a hard game. Such a hard game away at Sunderland. And by the way, Sunderland's home are a harder team to beat at the moment than what Chelsea are. And I think he made those problems. They bottled it. They couldn't get the job done. But in the end, maybe maybe I'm being harsh on Pep because they did have 3 or 4 gilt-edged chances that they should be scoring. Haaland shouldn't be getting involved in the physical battles. Foden should be much, much better, and he was well below his standard today. But the advantage goes to Arsenal. And in the talk of the title race, and I want to say this now, tonight there'll be maybe a glass of champagne at Mikel Arteta's house. Maybe a little bit of red panty night. Maybe he says, Mrs. Arteta, get yourself upstairs, girl. We're going to have a bit of fun. Arsenal fans should be buzzing with this result. Arsenal have gained a win plus something advantage, an insurance policy, a comfort blanket, because Arsenal will drop points again at some stage. But it means they won't be overtaken with one mistake. And it's important to have that. It now puts more pressure on City going into the game against Chelsea at the weekend. Because if Arsenal win on Saturday, if Arsenal win away a struggling Bournemouth, which they're capable of doing, the gap goes to 7 points. And then it becomes must win. Because you don't want to be going into game week 20, 7 points, 6 points behind. This was also why I said about the mainstream media, City will clear now. City are done. Look at that, 8 wins on the bounce. They're not being stopped. Idiots. I've been telling you all season, and it's one thing I'm going to keep pushing on because I know I'm right. If you look at the top 10 teams in the Premier League, let's be real about this. Let's be honest about this. Those top 10 teams in the Premier League at their home grounds are very hard to beat. Plus a few teams that have now dropped out the top 10. Brighton away is hard. Newcastle away is hard. Fulham away is hard. But generally speaking, Palace away, Brentford away, Everton, Sunderland, United. And United have become a bit crap at home, to be fair, recently. But Chelsea away. They're not easy. It doesn't mean you won't win there. Liverpool, Villa, City themselves, Arsenal. I'm not saying you can't win those games, but you have to play all those teams away from home. And when you play 2 or 3 of those games in close proximity, I just don't believe any team is winning them all. And this season has proven that. If you look at the games that City have dropped points in, if you look at the games that Arsenal have dropped points in, it's invariably been against the very best teams at home or to those teams away from home. They're hard to beat. This idea, by the way, this is going down to the wire. Arsenal have the advantage today. They're not running away with it, in my opinion. But no team is going on those mad 10, 15 game league winning streaks. Even like Aston Villa, they're quite a good fixture list where they didn't play any of those teams away until they went to Chelsea and they did fantastic and they won. Then it was Arsenal, bang, it's over. And that isn't a dig at Villa. Arsenal, you give Arsenal a run of games where they're away to 3 or 4 or 5 of those teams, they're not winning them all. The benefit maybe for Arsenal is they've played a lot. I think they've played 5 or 6 more of those teams already than City. So that's maybe an advantage for them as the season goes on. But a huge night in the Premier League title race this evening, but it isn't over. We're not going to do TalkSport because this is what we said on TalkSport tonight. Arsenal must now. It's gone from City are going to win the league yesterday to Arsenal must now. So the team that you didn't rate as good enough to win it because of one result going in their favour, exactly halfway through the season, it's theirs to win. You're going to get a lot of that nonsense. You're going to get a lot of that bullshit. Stay away from it. That's why you guys are here and you're not anywhere else. You want real honesty and you want fair analysis on that. So, look, big night in the title race. Commiserations to City for dropping those points. Well done to Sunderland. Thoroughly deserved on every single level. Let's just have that right on every single level. That was deserved from Sunderland. But listen, like, share and subscribe. Can't wait to read your comments below.